And hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you may be. My name is Ruel Gaviola, joined by the amazing Chris George. Welcome to the R&R&R show. Chris, how the heck are you, my friend?
Oh, well, you said it. I'm amazing, and everybody has to say that about me now. Ruel
Yes,
said it. There's no
it's
going back.
it's the internet. You know it's true. It's been said. And thank you, Zen, for one for subscribing. Folks, we are a few minutes late because tech issues. So thank you for your patience. There are going to be tech issues probably in the first 20 minutes here as I try to get things going on. But thanks to Chris for being the professional that he is. And I just realized, Chris, the beard, the mustache. Oh my gosh.
It's getting bigger. It's
Yeah,
getting bigger every time we meet. Well, we haven't hung out in a bit.
yeah. It's been a couple of weeks, and oh my gosh, and you just froze on me. Wow, this is great. This is just par for the course, folks. Chris froze on me. I was having problems all morning trying to log in, and we're gonna get Chris back in just a moment. But how the heck is everyone? It's been a couple of weeks since we've done the show. I have been on the road a lot. I went on the road for about 12 days. Hey, there's our friend Chris coming
I'm
right back.
back.
Look at
That
that.
was that was that was wild. I
Yeah,
was too. I was so overwhelmed that Didgeridoo said that I was also amazing, so that I had
yes.
to take a break. I had
Yeah.
to go completely black to hide my tears of joy. That's uh
Totally
that's what
understandable.
that's
Thank you,
what it was.
Drew. And Jen Cam, hello. Thank you. Good to see everyone. And yeah, so Chris, it's been a couple of weeks since we've hung
It
out.
has.
How are things going with the show and all the goodness that you're up to?
Yeah, pretty good. I think. Flashburn. Thank you for subscribing. 13 months.
Thank you, Flashburn.
Flashburn, you're killing it.
Yes.
We're getting so many resubs right now. It's because we haven't been on in such a while because there was Gen Con and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been pretty good for me.
Yeah.
Just been now finally getting into running both shows that I'm doing here in Halifax, and my days are getting free. And I
Mm,
finally have been able to carve out time to play some more games, and
nice.
it's been so lovely. Um, yeah,
Amazing.
it's been great. It's been great. I got distracted by my mustache there again. I said, "Is it curly enough?
It
Is it
is.
curly enough for the
It is
people?" And I
quite
was thinking about
distracting.
how
Yeah.
much it has grown.
As if you weren't handsome enough before, Chris. Now you're taken to the next level,
See,
man.
this is the reason why I come on these streams because I require. I told Ruel I was screaming at him like Christian Bale at somebody on set. Um, I was screaming at him before. I'm like, if you don't compliment me the whole time, this is my last run through ever. This is
That's
my last R&R&R show. You can remove the R. My lawyers will be in touch. Yeah, but
I want the Christian Bale Batman voice when you say that. It's like, no, I want,
no.
Oh my gosh.
Dr. Prof, 123. Thanks for subscribing.
Drop the R.
Subscribing 9 months.
Oh,
No, where are you?
oh, friends, and I've got the pugs barking in the background. Folks, it's gonna be a good show. I'm looking forward to this. It's been a while since we've streamed together.
Yeah,
Things have been going on. The shows. I'm assuming the shows are going well, Chris. I mean,
yeah,
okay, good,
yeah. They're going pretty well.
nice. Hey, we just did a rate. Is this no? What was this? Hype train. Thank you.
We got a hype train. We got a gifted sub,
Wow, all kinds of good stuff.
Kim Manuelo, if I'm getting that right.
Yes, thank you, friends.
Thank you for gifting the sub. Everybody's got pants on now. No
Yeah.
one's no one's holding out.
Well,
No one's
maybe not all of
pantsless
us
in the
have
chat.
pants. We'll see about that. um,
That's the after stream. If you
that's
subscribe for 24 months, then you get access to
there. You
that.
go, friends. um, also, folks, we've got a great show coming up. What we're doing right now is the pre-show. What you're watching is we are here on Twitch, and we record our YouTube show for the Rahdo Runs Through channel. And this week, we're doing our top 12 two-player games, and this is gonna be a fun list. Two-player
Mhm.
gaming is very near and dear to my heart because that's the majority of the gaming that I do nowadays with my wife Michelle. And now Richard, he is strictly almost always a two-player person with his partner Jen. Chris, now you've got your acting peers right now roped into gaming with you right now,
I
correct?
do. I do, yeah. I got a whole slew of them. In
Nice.
fact, I need games that support more because they all want to participate, and I need to.
Oh,
I just need to. It's a great problem to have that
yeah.
people want to play games,
Nice.
which is great. So we had a full complement of people
That's great.
the other day. I was like, it's capped at 4. I'm sorry, we're playing a 4-player game, but if anybody else wants to show up, I'll just get you set up with another table, and I'll teach you games and whatever.
Wow, that's really
Um,
cool. I mean, having a
yeah.
second table, that's always a good thing.
Yeah.
Any big
It's
hits
been
so
good.
far with your group of friends playing out there?
Yeah, we've only kind of dipped our toes into it, but what was really great is there's some like really new gamers who are just excited that I'm in the board gaming space, right? And I'm always talking about it. And so like 2 of the people hadn't really played modern board games whatsoever. And
Oh,
so we had a big game day of playing before we had to go to the show. We played City of the Great Machine, which is
oh,
right behind me right here, which I still
nice.
need to play a little bit more of in order to get a fully fledged opinion on it. But
Hmm.
it's real good. It's a one versus all. It was really fun. That first play was really fun. I
Nice.
played the one versus the all, and they all really enjoyed themselves because it's about sort of hidden movement. So they're communicating with each other, and I'm just listening, trying to figure out where they're going. And so
Ah,
they have to like try to be speaking in code, and you can't whisper. You just have to be like, "Hey, no, I'm going." But they can show each other cards. So like, I'm gonna go here. Do you think we should go here and do this action, or what do
okay.
you think? And so it's like really fun. And then we played Endless Winter as well.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah,
Very
and
nice.
the people who are new to gaming, I realized I kind of threw them in off the deep end because it's got deck building, it's
Yeah,
got worker placement. It says it's worker placement. I think it's more action selection,
yeah.
but it's got area control, it's got set collection, it's got so many like aspects to it that you forget as like when you're deeply entrenched in the hobby. You're like, oh yeah, I know all these things. And then when I was explaining it, I was like, oh yeah, you don't know any of these things. So the explanation was ended up being pretty long, but they all enjoyed it
Oh,
at the
that's
end
great
as
that they
well
stuck
too.
around and they
Oh
dove
yeah,
into it. That's awesome.
they were super committed. It took us like 8 hours to play both of those games.
Oh,
So it was a
wow.
long time, like lots of downtime, lots of like explaining and like, but we were
Wow.
just hanging out too and just enjoying each other's company. And our show got canceled that night because it was rain, so we just were able to kind of keep gaming.
Oh, cool.
Really.
Shardia says Chris would love beard care product recommendations.
Yeah, you can give me some. I mean, it's probably going to go after in like 3 weeks' time. I'll tell you this though, we've got at the end of the season, we do a one night only performance of Midsummer Night's Dream.
Oh,
It's called the Unrehearsed Dream. So we all know our lines and we know the cue lines, and we don't like get the full script, so we don't know the full cut. I mean, you could go look it up, but like you just don't.
oh,
And so you don't know what people are going to do. You don't know what costumes people are going to be in. You don't know what's going to happen. And so I think I'm playing bottom. He's like the showboat actor in it, basically. And so I think I'm going to shave it all off except for the mustache. I think I'm going
yes.
to dye the mustache pink or something
Oh,
like that.
wow.
I think I want it to be like and I want him to be wearing like this cream colored suit. I just picture like pinstripes, suspenders. I think it's gonna be very funny. And then I might even take my board game bag and I'm gonna stuff it with props so that every time I want to, I can just reach in and pull out something funny and like throw it into the scene and make people have to react
I
to it.
love
It's that
that.
sort of show. It's like
Yeah.
prepare the bits to like throw off your other actors. And if you can get your other actors to break and to throw off, like that's my goal.
That's great. Oh my gosh, what a fun. So is that at the end of the run then or that you
Yeah,
do?
that's
Okay.
the end of the season. So September
Nice.
3rd is when that's happening. It's
That's
like the
cool.
Sunday. So we'll close both shows and then we'll do that thing.
Awesome.
Um,
By
I
the
just
way,
need to make sure to
y-
learn my lines.
I love it. Folks, thank you again for all your support. We've completed a hype train, so but you can
Yeah,
continue subbing and throwing bits around. Don't forget, if you have an Amazon Prime account, you get one free subscription per month to a Twitch channel of your choice. We'd love if you supported us here because that's how we get to do the show through your support. So thank you very
true.
much. You also got free emotes as a level one hype train, so that should be able to use those as well. We see Dr. Prof has just used it. Dr. Prof has also said, by the way, we've missed you guys. We've missed you too, Dr. Prof. Thank you for joining us today. Um, this comment here, this is I think the theme of today is from Didgeridoo says live streaming is stressful. Yes,
Mm.
it's all the behind the scenes stuff that's stressful, and when tech isn't working, all the tech stuff was not working this morning for whatever reason. But thankfully, we're happy, and we'll be talking about a bunch of games today, friends. So thank you for joining us today. Um, what else has been going on? We've got you've been doing Shakespeare. You actually you're doing Pinocchio as well.
Yeah, Pinocchio and Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, Goblin too. Goblin says bottom the ass. Yeah, bottom gets turned into a donkey. And he's
Oh,
like,
okay.
they're making an ass out of me. He gets turned into a donkey by the fairies. So that's
Love
me.
it.
Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. I was on the road for 12 days. I was in Michelle and I celebrated our anniversary a couple of weeks ago. We went to Chicago for a few days.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. It was. Have you ever been to Chicago, Chris?
I haven't. It's
Oh,
on my list because I like pizza. So
dude,
gotta go.
highly recommend. 12 out of 10 would totally do it again. And I have got the
Amazing.
pizza place for you, my friend. So I was told there's like the big three. There's Giordano's, Luminati's, and then another one. I can't remember the name right now. But
Yeah.
those I've had Giordano's before. I've had it twice, and I liked it. But see, I'm a New York pizza type of guy. I like that thin crust.
Yeah.
We went to a place thanks to our friend Matt from the Good Time Society. He used to live in Chicago. He recommended Pequod's. I kid you not, Chris. I had one bite of Pequod's. I said, I think I'm a Chicago style pizza guy now. I
Wow.
it was mind blowingly good. It was fantastic. And folks, I don't know where y'all. We've done top threes before. We've done this or that. I think now my choice, if it's New York or Chicago style pizza, I think I'm a Chicago style pizza guy now
Wow. You
because
have been converted.
I have. I never thought like all my life I've loved New York style pizza, but that one pizza place, Pequod's, I'm pretty sure changed. I want to go back one more time, but just to ensure. But my gosh, it was so good. And Chicago is a great eating town. Michelle and I, we just ate for like 4 days straight. It was fantastic.
That sounds like the only thing I want to do
Yeah,
on a trip.
it
Does
was.
Chicago have any like board game conventions?
You know what? They just had the what is it called? ShyCon. So
Oh,
Button Shy Games, Chris, those little wallet
yeah,
sizes.
yeah.
They have their own convention. It's called ShyCon, and it was just this past weekend. And I'm so bummed I missed it because it was literally just a day full of those little games. That's all they do. They host it.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
Everybody sits in a corner by themselves and just plays,
I
and
love
then you
these
trade
little
your
games.
wallet with somebody else.
Yeah, so I had friends that went, and that they have like exclusive like little games that come out during the con. They have big sales. I really want to go next year. Apparently, it changes locations. So last year it was Nashville. This year was Chicago,
Mm,
and I think next year is going to be Denver, Colorado, or something like that. I'm not sure, but man, I'm still thinking about Chicago, Chris. Michelle and I, we did
wow.
the like little boat tour. So you get on a
Yeah.
boat, go down the river, and it's an architecture tour. So to learn all about the buildings, I'm a tourist nerd. Like I love doing all those touristy
Yeah.
things, and this was fantastic. It was so nice, and then to top it off, so Michelle had to go back to work on Tuesday, so she flew back home on Monday to California, whereas I was going to Gen Con on Tuesday. So I stayed an extra night in Chicago to go see a Chicago Cubs baseball game, and oh man, I'm such a baseball nerd, and I love the history of Wrigley Field, and just to go there was such a treat. It was amazing, and I had hot dogs and. Did I have a beer? I don't know if I had a beer. I don't really drink much beer anymore, but it was a fun time, and yeah, highly recommend. You
Cool.
need to visit Chicago sometimes, Chris.
Yeah. It's on the list. Like it's close enough to Toronto too. Like it's very
Yeah,
drivable. It'll probably be like 8 hours or something.
yeah, it's a
So
short flight, a couple hour flight if you need to.
yeah.
But oh my gosh, yeah. Soli was talking about Italian beef. We were talking. I think we were talking about this before, Chris. Have you watched that show, The Bear, on
We
Hulu?
have talked about that. I haven't yet seen it, but
Okay,
you were saying that you enjoyed it.
yeah, really, it was a fantastic show, and I actually went to the restaurant it's based on in
Oh,
Chicago.
cool.
Yeah, it's called Mr. Beef, and I don't know if they filmed on location or they built a set, but when I walked in, it's exactly like the show. Which
Really cool.
yeah, I have a feeling they shot on site, but oh man, and it was funny too. The guy that helped me, I don't know if he was the manager or whatever, he did just his voice sort of sounded like the main actor's voice, so I thought that was sort of funny, but. Oh, Mr. Beef was really, really good. Italian beef sandwiches, I guess, are a thing in Chicago, and I don't really eat beef anymore. But just for just for posterity's sake, I had to eat a beef sandwich. It was fantastic. It was so good.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Hot
that
dogs,
sounds
Italian beef
great.
sandwiches, pizzas,
Yeah.
dude. It was
Oh,
it was amazing.
I'm going to Chicago.
Yeah, highly
I'm doing it.
recommend.
I know because this upcoming year, I'm trying to find a whole bunch of local conventions that like I can drive to within that sort of like 8 to 9 hour
Yeah.
range,
Hmm.
right? And just like go and do dual purpose of like attending conventions and like just playing games. And then also I know like World Series of Board Gaming wants to do more like regional qualifiers. And so
Oh,
I'm trying to like search all around. I'm like, okay, if I could do one here, I could do one here, right? And like make those make it kind of like a purposeful trip and then also like get to have fun at board game conventions and just
ah,
dual tasks.
nice.
That's my ultimate plan. So I but I didn't think there was anything in Chicago, and
Yeah.
now I wish there was. Now I'm going to start one.
Yes,
I'm
please
not going to
do.
start a room and board convention in Toronto. I'm going to start it in Chicago based off of your recommendations so that I can have one slice of Chicago pizza.
Yes.
That's my goal.
That's a fantastic goal. And speaking of the World Series of Board Game, we've got about a month left, right? It's
That's true.
oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I was doing some training, folks, on my channel, and the training
Yeah.
had to stop because I was out in Chicago eating pizza and doing other stuff. But I will be back on the horse tomorrow, or no, Wednesday. This Wednesday, I
Wednesday,
will
yeah.
be. I'm playing Castles of Burgundy this Wednesday, folks. So come on over to my Twitch channel and
World Series Wednesday
World Series
over
Wednesday.
on Ruel's channel.
Yes, thank you, Chris. Chris, what else besides? I mean, the shows are going well. Are you enjoying the culinary landscape out there in Nova Scotia? And if
Yeah, there's
what
I'm
is the
having
culinary
lots of
landscape of Nova Scotia? Now that I say it,
you know what? That's a good question. I mean, it's seafood. It's seafood.
okay,
And it's also donair. They love their donair out here in
really,
Halifax. Yeah, you get a nice donair with donair sauce, or you get a pizza like a donair pizza, and you get that with like
wow,
donair sauce, or garlic fingers with donair sauce. They just love donair sauce. So
interesting.
that's the main sort of thing that you'll get in Halifax: seafood and donair. Those are the two.
Oh, wow,
Uh,
I would never have guessed. Well, the seafood I would have guessed, but donair, wow,
yeah,
interesting,
yeah. That's it's a real thing.
cool.
Um, but I've been having none of that and just pizza.
Just pizza.
because because things close. It's
Yeah,
like it's a smaller town. I get home after like a show, and I don't want to eat too much before the show, so I get home after a show, and then
right.
the only thing that's nearby me that's open is either a Pizza Hut or a Domino's
Oh
or
my
McDonald's.
gosh.
Even the Wendy's closes at 10 p.m.
Oh my
I get home at
gosh.
like 9:41 generally sometimes.
Wow.
So I'm like, do I make it? Do I pull the trigger?
Yeah.
So I have not been taking advantage whatsoever of where I am. Really, I've
Mhm.
just been really just working and
Yeah.
just with my nose to the grindstone, trying to make sure everything stays in time management mode.
Right.
But I'm excited. I got 3 more weeks here that I'm gonna take full advantage of being here, and
Nice.
we got some great places that we want to try,
Oh, good.
and just I need to eat more seafood. I need to eat some more clams.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love clams. I love seafood.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
when the show wraps, do you have time or do you just go immediately home, or do you have a day or two to sort of hang out and see the sights?
Yeah, we're gonna spend a day at my girlfriend, her folks. They live
Oh,
out here as well, so we're gonna spend a
cool.
day at their place, and then we're gonna get back to Toronto because then I'll have 2 weeks of prep before going to Vegas.
Nice.
And that'll be that's the thing. Yeah, we'll
And
have 2 weeks
I
and
will
just
see
make
you in
sure all the
Vegas
streaming stuff, and
next
I'll see
month.
you in
Yeah.
Vegas.
I know we're
Really,
gonna eat tacos,
really
right?
excited.
We're definitely going to
We
tacos El
gotta.
Gordo. Okay.
We have to. I have to. I don't know what this is. But we have to.
Yeah.
It's a non-negotiable. We gotta.
Agreed.
Tacos El Gordo is the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Now, did you?
Although maybe this Chicago pizza
Oh,
might also
it's
help.
right up there. Did we when I saw you in Vegas back in March, did we eat the barbecue together? Up in Smoke Barbecue or Rolling Smoke Barbecue?
No, I
No.
don't think so. I think we just did tacos. Yeah,
Okay. So
yeah.
I know
I
you're
think
gonna
I
be
was.
busy at the World Series, so maybe I can run out and get us some of that barbecue. It's really good. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah,
As long
that'd
as
be
you're a
great. We'll
barbecue
eat
fan.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm an everything fan. I'm a good food fan. You know what I mean?
Same. Jen Cam plays board games. Thanks for joining us. She says just got stuff moves. Just got stuff moved to the garage to make space for the new Kalax and Calyx. Nice, the shelves. Need to get
Nice.
the Gen Con haul off of the treadmill. Yes. My Gen Con haul, friends, is I don't know if you can see stacks. I've got stacks and stacks of games everywhere.
Stacks and stacks.
Yeah,
How many games did you end up coming home with, Ruel, from Gen Con?
I posted a video yesterday or this morning. I counted up. It was 37. I was actually incorrect. It's 38 games that I brought home this time. So I think the
That's a
most I
good
brought.
haul.
Yeah, it's a good haul. I think the most I've done before is like 50 something. So this time I sort of like scaled back a little bit, and thankfully now, Chris, I've gotten to the point where I'm able to talk to publishers and say, hey, instead of picking up the games at the convention, use those to sell those to your customers. Just mail me one either before or after the convention. It's
Yeah.
easier, saves me time, saves them time, and saves me space in my luggage because I had to bring in 3 bags this time, and each one, you have a 50-pound limit. I would
Yeah.
the closest I got was like 47.5. So I barely had room to spare this time. It was
Wow.
pretty intense. Yeah, but good times. Andrew was asking, are you going to go to the Oyster Bar when you're in Vegas? Did you go to the Oyster
I've
Bar
never
last
heard.
time, Chris?
No, I've never heard of this oyster bar. I wish
Oh,
somebody had mentioned it to me. Huh.
yeah, it's fantastic. I'm going to go. I'm going to eat like 3 meals there and send pictures to our friend Andrew.
Nice.
Yeah, he will appreciate that. What else? Everyone's in chat. Thank you again, friends. Sully says that Shardis says that they had taken the tour. Oh, okay, the boat tour.
Of
Awesome.
Chicago, yeah.
Yeah, very cool. And Sully was asking, when is the WSOBG, the World Series of Board
Oh
Games?
yeah. WSBG. It's happening September 24th to the 28th in Las Vegas at the Horseshoe Casino. You can still get tickets if you're interested. Come and hang out.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, it should be a fun event. We rent Dice Tower West Library, and so basically, like how I think of it is that the outer ring tournament gets you into everything except for like the main like money tournament, because the money tournament you can win $25,000 and you can win like a $2,000 ring,
Hmm.
and they're really cool. And so that's a little bit pricier because there's got to be that cash prize has to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
But the sort of outer ring tournament is the same price as like a Dice Tower West ticket. It's $150, and it's just open gaming, and there's a bunch of like mini tournaments. There's like the Dice Throne tournament. There's like the Red Cathedral is having a tournament, which I think you're commenting on the. I don't know if I've told you this, but you are commenting.
Wait, what?
On, I think you're commenting on Red Cathedral. I
Yes.
forget. I have the schedule and I send it out to everybody.
Yeah, no, you're
Um,
right. You're right. Yeah.
but
I
the winner of Red Cathedral also gets a plane ticket to Essen. Like
what?
they're getting a trip to Essen. Yeah, Devere was like, "Hey,
Oh,
this is our prize that we're giving out. It's so good." I was
wow.
like, "This is insane. It's an insane prize."
That's
It's super cool.
I sort of want to enter that contest. I sort of want to go
Yeah,
in that now. Oh my
I
gosh.
know. You'll have to commentate yourself at the final table.
Yeah. Oh wow. What a prize.
Yeah,
That is fantastic.
yeah, it's such a prize. Like amazing. So
Yeah.
like even in that outer ring ticket, it's such value. Or you can just like bump yourself up and do one entry into the main tournament, see how far you get, right?
Yeah.
Which is depending upon the game that you pick in, you'll have, you know, 3 games or 4 games 4 rounds of the same game that you have to win. And if you do, then you win that like Super Bowl style ring, which is so
Yes.
cool.
So neat.
But yeah, so 24th to 28th, I think ticket sales close like beginning of September, basically, because they need to
Okay.
close at some point in order for like the tournament to get finalized. Because I don't think we're selling tickets at the door or anything like that.
Oh,
Because
okay.
you gotta create the tournament structure and figure out, okay, this is how many rounds it's going to have, and then you don't want
Right.
to have to be switching that sort of stuff up on the fly, because then things can happen.
Right. Right. Of course. Cool. Wow. I just realized that. I mean, we're talking about it. I'm looking at the calendar. It's like we're a month away from that. That's
We're a month
insane.
away. Yeah.
Wow. So you were talking about in the future, hopefully regional qualifiers. So are you starting to
Yeah.
plan like stuff? I mean, basically, I'm asking, are you going to be in California at some point?
Maybe, right? Like, so I've got a target. I'm gonna reach out to multiple conventions because we've had a few regional qualifiers leading up to this. Like we had a regional qualifier at Dice Tower West, and that's why I was able to go to Dice Tower West because I
Hmm.
was running that there, right?
Right.
And so like with the idea that any people should honestly send me messages if you have a regional convention that you think would want to host a little World Series regional qualifier because like I'm interested, and also tournaments can host their own qualifiers as well if I can't get down there too, right?
Hmm.
I have like I'll have a budget to travel, but I'll have to hit up the ones that will have the most people at them, right? And so that's why I'm
Yep.
really trying to focus around places where I can drive to because I can then justify doing like smaller ones, you know,
Yeah, of course.
and from like a cost perspective, I won't have to be like taking flights everywhere and be like, hey, here's all my I'm a world traveler, here's my flight bill. And
Yeah.
I'll be like, what are you doing? This convention had 50 people, but it was fun.
Right.
No. Like
Oh my
that sort of
gosh.
thing. But
Um,
yeah, it would depend. It would depend on like the convention, but
yeah.
or if they wouldn't be able to run it themselves. But generally, it would be a good place to target because the closer you are to Vegas, and like in a regional sense, the easier it makes sense for people to come and enjoy our convention as well,
Right.
right? Our event.
Right. So
So
are you actually do you plan out the schedules and stuff? Are you scheduling all the tournaments and find out is it like a bracket structure where it's like, 16 people and then they go on? How's that all work, Chris?
yeah, so for like a regional qualifier sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically how the Dice Tower one worked is that we had four tables of every game, and
Mhm.
people it was like an additional ticket cost. It was like $20 for an entry or like 50 for four entries. And then but to incentivize, like that's just so we can pay for the like the hotel and the winner's prize. Basically, what we did in Dice Tower is we made sure if the winner's prize was taken care of, then we put all that money that was raised back into like gift certificates and raffles and like so people got gift certificates to vendor halls, etc., right? It just goes back into the convention, back into like the participants.
Okay.
And then in addition, whatever you spend, you get that money off of your World Series ticket as well. So like that way it's zero risk. If you were planning on going to the World Series anyway, you can try to win your way there, and if you don't win, well, that's okay, you already put $50 towards your ticket. And
Ah.
then like you know what I mean, so
Yep.
like in
Nice.
that sense it kind of fuels that cycle of you can try your luck, you can practice, you can get a sense of if you'd enjoy the structure, and then move forward in that regard. And so we had four tables of each, and
Hmm.
then we had the winner of each, or maximum four tables, right? It depended on like I changed some stuff up on the fly. For brass, for example, we only
Uh-huh.
had five people enter the Dice Tower West like section of brass. They only
Mhm.
wanted to play, so I was like, one person jumped in last minute because we were just going to have a table of four, and that was just going to be the final table, whatever. Um, but it's structured exactly the same as World Series, in which there's like a mini tournament for each game, and then the winners go on to the semifinals. And then in the semifinal, you get a random game out of the 16 that you haven't won, and you have to win that to get into the finals. And the finals, you also play a random game out of the 16 that nobody's won, so all the semifinals are out, and you get a blind veto. So you can be like, listen, I really don't feel comfortable about Gaia Project.
Yeah.
I'm vetoing Gaia Project. I
Got it.
think the vetoes were Gaia Project, two Great Western Trails, and
Oh.
Splendor
Okay.
in the in our final. And so our final game at Dice Tower West was Terraforming Mars. And so then the
Ah.
winner who won that won a full like stay and play package, so full hotel and entry into all the competition.
Mhm.
And then everybody else who won got like who won a semifinal got basically their money back in gift certificates to the vendor hall. So
Oh,
they got their
nice.
money back that they spent, and
Yeah.
so it's basically free entry for them, and then they get it off their World Series tickets. So it was kind of fun. But yeah,
Very
for like
cool.
for brass with five people, I was like, okay, well, we'll have a table of three and we'll have a table of two. And then the top two from the table of three will move on, and the top one from the table of two will move on. Just because, like, for me, I just was trying to balance and juggle what's going to be a fun game, right? Brass at
Mhm.
three is much more exciting than brass at two and feels a bit more
Yeah.
like fair in that way. And so we had eight people for the ticket to ride. And I was like, great, top two scores from each one moves on for the final table of four. Right. So I
Yep.
did that sort of juggling if not enough people had signed up. But we had like 16 Arc Nova players. And then
Oh,
so that
wow.
was easy. Then the winner of each one of those moved into a table of four for the Arc Novas. And then the one winner moved on into the semifinals.
Nice.
So yeah, it was a
Awesome.
whole
Cool. Yeah, I can't wait
Whole thing.
to. I had missed, I'd been invited last year, but I had to miss it due to,
Yeah.
emergency. But this time, I'm really, really fired up about it. I cannot wait. I think, did it? Paula Deming's going to be there, and I believe
Yep.
we may be partnered up to do the Red Cathedral
Yeah,
commentary.
I think you are. I think
Okay,
you're both
awesome,
doing. Yeah, you're both commentating
awesome.
on
Yeah,
Red
I love
Cathedral
Paula.
together, and
She's awesome.
yeah,
Cool,
and that'll all be streamed as well on Dice Towers Network. We're streaming
cool.
all the finals and stuff. So during that
Cannot
week,
wait.
you can see Ruel and Paula killing it at the Red Cathedral finals.
Yes.
I'm excited. I love Red Cathedral. I
Yeah, it's
was
such a great game. And Collateral Damage, I want to bring this comment up, said they're imagining Chris's commentary on board games mimicking boxing/MMA commentary, if only. That would be
if
funny.
only.
Yeah.
I like doing. I did some of the post commentary last year, and that was fun.
Oh,
I won't be doing any of the commentary this year because I'm going to be behind the camera, managing all like the streaming aspect and doing the organizational stuff and
yeah.
doing a bunch of like behind the scenes work. But
Okay.
we got better people than me to commentate, obviously, because we got Ruel in front of the camera.
Thank you.
Killing it.
I was gonna say I think it'd be fun if you and I could do something like that. I mean, maybe next year or another event. I think it'd be great to do commentary with you, Chris. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
we could do some post like we'll
Yeah.
have a bunch that we'll need to do post commentary on. That would be fun.
yeah, definitely. Let's keep that in mind. I think it'd be a blast. I had to bring up this comment here. Roshko says, yes, we all agree with this, Roshko. Wow, Chris, that mustache is fabulous.
Thank you.
Yes.
I grew it myself.
Oh, I
Yeah,
forgot
no,
to ask.
I'm-
Are you putting like the beard or the mustache wax or anything in that, or?
Honestly, I have some wax for the show, but like I'm a fidgety sort of person.
Okay.
And so like I'm just constantly just fidgeting with it. And I think
Okay.
I've just yanked it into place. Um
I always
but yeah,
wanted to do that.
I'm
I don't. So, are you just twisting it the whole time?
I'm just twisting. Yeah, I'm just
Okay.
twisting. I'm doing a little twist the whole time. We're gonna have this is gonna be the whole stream. Just Ruel and I twisting our mustaches.
Twisting our mustaches.
It's if Richard says anything we don't like, hey, what are you doing there? See? Nah, we wanted 2-player games, not 2-player only games.
Yes.
See, we wanted 4-player games that play well at 2. See?
Oh my goodness, Goblin! Thank you for the compliment. Very kind of you. Our friend Andrew is really looking forward to the WSOBG and Chris helping arrange their flight. So good luck with that, Chris.
I hope you enjoy WSOBG, and I will enjoy the WSBG me personally. So you go ahead, Andrew. That
Nice.
sounds great. And you know what's really good about arranging flights? Expedia. I've heard.
That's right, Expedia. Okay, ITR Hernandez, thank you for joining us. Good to see your friend. We
Not late
are
to the party at all. We're just chilling.
we're just getting ready. We started the party late because of tech issues, but I think we're good to go. I was actually while you were talking, Chris. I think I've got all our videos lined up. So
Oh, nice. Great.
yeah, we are good to go on this end. But first, I almost forgot. I always, people always remind me to do this, but we need to do the battle royale. Everyone needs
Let's
to battle.
get it going.
Okay, so let me do that. And I don't know if the sound's going to work this time, folks. Let us know if the sound works, and we will fix that for next time. But
I bet it's gonna.
I can hear it in my earbuds or my headphones, so hopefully y'all can hear it too. But good luck, everybody. Fight to the
There's
death.
definitely no sound. 'Cause
No sound.
I'm listening on the
Bummer.
timer. Oh, sound is pretty good on my end.
Oh.
Never mind. I lied
Okay.
to you.
Okay.
Oh, no. Goblin says no.
Goblin
sound.
says no
You know
sound.
what? You got to be exclusive. You got to have the exclusive. If there's a cheat code for sound, did people not put that in?
Wait, how's that?
No,
there should be sound now.
It's okay. It's okay, Rochko. You don't have to hide. We know you're the only one who can hear the sound, and I set it up that way.
There it is. Sound is this. Yes.
I set it up for anyone who I care about should be hearing the sound now.
Yes.
So now you know that you're my favorites, but don't tell the others, okay? Don't do it.
Oh, so now there were 3.
Dr. Prof, are you still in there?
Yes.
You need a health pack? Get it.
Then there were 2. Thanks, Goblin.
Great
Yeah.
button pushing.
That's all I do. I just push buttons. Hopefully things work. Oh,
NCC
Corte.
said, love the Vulcan Pon Far battle music.
Oh, and I believe that is
Who's taking it?
Corthane. Yay,
Corthane. I feel like Corthane won last time too.
Yeah, if not last time, very recently. So congrats,
yeah,
Corthane.
You know how to do it.
Yeah, well done. GG, as they say on the internet. We're going to get ready to do the show. So now we have an intro that Richard is recording tomorrow. So we're going to add that. He's going to add that in post. So we're going to jump into the show like this, Chris. We're going to be talking about our sponsor, Arcane Wonders, their new game, Call of Duty. So I got a sneak peek at it, or a short look at it at Gen Con. Have you seen anything via Kickstarter or anything, Chris?
Yeah. I just covered it today on my crowdfunding countdown.
Cool.
Yeah, it was. It ended up being the pick of the week.
Oh, nice.
Like the pick for you. I think it looks fun.
Okay, cool. So, if you don't mind,
I'll talk about it.
Yeah.
When we start the recording, I'll say all my praise for it then.
Yes. If you don't mind doing that, that'd be great. I'll lead you into it, and then we'll go into our top 12 two-player games. Folks, if you notice, I've turned off the Twitch stuff because we're recording this for YouTube. You all are still here, obviously, and afterwards, stick around because Chris and I were going to talk about the games that didn't make our list today, and as well as Richard. He's recorded some stuff for us as well. So let me make sure I've got this scene ready here. I press this button. Hopefully that works. Yay, that works. Okay. And Chris, can I get an audio check on your end, please?
Oh, here's a little audio check from me.
Yes, it works. Okay. And then this works too. Okay. Let me get rid of this one just in case. Boom, boom. Okay, so Richard has done the intro, then we'll come to this come to us here. So
it's 2-player only. It's going to be 2-player only, but we'll specify that when we start the list too. But good specification, Goblin. Because
thank you, Goblin. Yes,
I also was confused and had to make a whole new list.
Same. Okay. So Arcane Wonders. Okay. You ready, Chris?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Okay. And welcome everybody to the R&R&R show. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Ruel Gaviolo, joined by the amazing Chris George. Chris, how the heck are you, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic because you called me amazing, and that's the first time I've said that today.
The very first time, folks. And we want to thank...
Don't check the extended edition.
Yeah, don't watch that. But yes, please watch that. You can see the show notes below for the extended edition where we talk about all kinds of good stuff. And also want to thank our sponsor today, Arcane Wonders, for sponsoring today's show. Talking about Call of Duty, the new board game that I got a sneak peek at Gen Con last week. And boy, fans, if you're in Call of Duty, this is, you got to check this out. Chris, you actually just did a video about this, correct?
Yeah. So I cover everything that's leaving Kickstarter. And so as of the time of this recording, we're recording this on a Monday. It's got about a week and a day left for it on Kickstarter. And so I covered it on my own channel, Room and Board. I thought it looked really good. I was very happy because I had heard rumblings that they weren't going to get the rule book out, or they weren't going to have it out in time. And then they did have it in an update. And I like to read through all the rule books so that I can actually look at a game and look at the ins and outs. And I was very thankful that they did, because I think it looks kind of fun. Looks pretty solid. You take 4 actions of sort of hidden movement planning, and then you go through those actions. And if you happen to have spotted the other person in your sights, you then get to chuck a whole bunch of dice, depending on if you want to go crazy attacking, or if you want to be like have some agility, or if you want to have more aiming. You really are pinpoint aiming, and that will deal more damage. And so, like, even just looking at it, feels like a really faithful representation of the base game for sure.
Yeah. Now, I'm not a Call of Duty fan. I haven't really played much Call of Duty in the past, but I am a fan of these 1v1 skirmish games. And if I can roll dice and go pew pew pew, you got me right there. So really looking forward to that.
I think that's what it is. You're gonna roll dice. You're gonna go pew pew pew. I think that's it. you know what? I forget my descriptor. I think we have it. We have it here. Arcane Wonders. If you want to take that as a clip and just put it as your marketing material, roll dice, go pew pew pew. I think
You
you're
got my
gonna double your
permission.
sales.
Yeah, so folks, be sure to check that out. Check the show notes below for links. And, speaking of two player games, that's what today's show is all about, Chris. We've got our top 12 two-player
Hmm.
games. And these are two-player only games, correct? Is that,
Correct.
we had talked about this in the pre show, but we're talking about two-player specific games. And, you know what? Why don't we just jump right into it, Chris? You've got one for us at number 12.
Yeah, that's true. I do. Yeah, these are two-player only. We had another list. We were thinking games to play well at two, and then we thought, no, we want it just specifically two-player only, limiting you to just two players. You are designated to play it with that player count and no others, because they know it works the best at that. And so my number 12 is a game that I had to include because it's one of my girlfriend's favorite games. I think it's good, but if I didn't include it, she would be mad at me. And so I wanted to include it for her. It's a game called Morels.
Nice.
And I don't see people talking about this that much too. So I also like talking about things that people don't talk. It's basically a game about collecting mushrooms, kind of set collection game, where you can see that there's a row laid out. And actually, the optimal way I find to play, and they put this as like a little sheet. There was a BGG variant where you kind of do it in a circle. You deal the cards out in a circle, and then you don't have to worry about shifting the row down every time.
Oh,
Uh, because you're going on an adventure in the forest, and whatever's closest to the deck of cards you can pick up for free. And then if you want to pick up stuff that's coming later, you have to spend these twig tokens. And basically, how the game plays is you're going to be collecting frying pans and then sets of mushrooms in your hand, and then choosing when to cook those mushrooms, either for points or for more twigs. So, more ability to get better mushrooms down the line. And some mushrooms are better for cooking for those twigs, some mushrooms are better for the points value. The morels, as the name is named, there's only 3 cards of that in the deck, and you need to have at least 2 to cook. And they give you like 6 points per mushroom, and that's a huge amount of points. And so, yeah, it's a fun little game. It's tight. I like that you can see 8 cards, and so you're always looking in advance. Okay, what happens if I take this card? Because whatever cards you take, whatever cards you don't take, they end up in like a decay pile. And then there's the ability to just take all the cards from the decay pile, but you have a limited hand, and it's really hard to swap cards out of your hand. And so it's like, okay, do I take all of this stuff? How am I going to be able to manipulate my hand with the restrictions that are in play? It's just it's a solid game. The more that I'm talking about it now, it gets me excited to play it again.
yeah.
I think because my girlfriend likes it, therefore we played it a ton. And so I think whenever I play a game like so much, I get a little like, okay, I don't want to play this for a while anymore. But even just talking about it makes me kind of excited. And I think it's a fun game and definitely worth checking out. Good price. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's a game that I've heard of throughout the years, and it's been gone like in and out of print over the years, hasn't it? Because I can never get a
Yeah.
copy for some reason, but I know that this is the type of game that Michelle and I would love.
Yeah. I
And
think you would. I think you
yeah,
would, knowing
yeah,
what I know about your tastes.
yeah. It seems like my type of type of
Yeah.
jam. It's
Yeah.
nothing. Well, it's something that you'll get to the table easily, and something you can
Yeah.
play repeatedly. So,
Plays in like half an hour,
yep.
right? Like it's really quick what you're going through. And there's a surprising amount of like back and forth. Oh, why did you do that? Sort of
Yes.
thing,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
definitely my
which I
jam.
like. Yeah.
Nice. Great call.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's
So that's our
let's
number
move on
12.
to our number 11. Good choice for number 12, Chris. 11, I've got that here in our combined list. This is a game that it's interesting. This game goes in and out of my top 10 every, over the years. I don't know. Sometimes I'm really into it, sometimes I'm not. It's one of those things. My lists are very however whatever mood I'm in, Chris,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
sometimes this will be like top of the list, sometimes it'll fall out. But recently I got to play this again at Gen Con, and I forgot how smart and how solid this game is. It's our number 11 two-player only game. It is Onitama.
Mm.
This is a game that is basically chess for non-chess players. And here, Michelle and I, we played this on our channel years ago when we first started live stream on Facebook Live, actually. And we are playing the game here where it's basically you have two sides. You have your monks and I believe they're helpers or whatever, and you're just trying to capture the other player's like main monk or whatever. Or you can take your monk and go to the other side of the board and you win. So it's very simple, straightforward. It's an abstract game, but what it is, the way you move. You don't have to remember all those like chess moves where the knight goes like this, like an L. The queen can go over this. No, you don't have to remember that because they give you cards. They have cards that you can play, and it'll show you exactly how it moves. Like if the frog goes like in a diagonal, or the tiger goes in like a little loop, or whatever, and you just play a card, move your piece, and then you discard that card and take one from the middle. So there's a cycle of like I think 5 cards per game. There's actually a bunch of cards, a couple of dozen I think, where you just randomly choose at the start of each game, and then
cool.
those are the ones you play with. It is so smart and so quick. You get that chess feeling, but in like 15 minutes. Now, if I was playing chess for real against anyone that could play chess, they could beat me in less than 15 minutes. But at least with Onitama, I have a shot to win, So, Michelle and I have loved this game. And I got to play this at Gen Con last week with a friend's son. And he's a younger guy, but he's a gamer. And we had a great time. We played it like 3 or 4 times in a row. And it reminded me of how smart this game is and how streamlined and sleek it is and how much I enjoy it. I've always enjoyed it. And that's why it's our number 11, Onitama.
It's a good pick. It's one that I still haven't played, but I know, again, it's one that I would enjoy.
Yeah.
The reason I haven't picked it up is because I know that my girlfriend Renee wouldn't like it whatsoever.
Interesting.
She doesn't like that tactical. She doesn't like chess style games.
Yeah.
She doesn't like that tactical sort of back and forth. But I think the swapping of the cards, like dictating your moves, just feels so slick to me.
It is.
And it's one that I definitely I haven't gotten because I know my primary sort of like 2-player gaming partner will like it.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, I won't, but I know I'll play it eventually, and I know I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, you will definitely
see it
enjoy
on a lot of. I feel like you see it on a lot of these 2-player lists too because it is so solid.
Yeah,
right?
it's like one of the few games that really takes chess and distills it down to a more accessible, chunk where people can play it without having to memorize all these opening, Queen's Gambit opening. I don't know all that stuff I've heard of, but I don't know what it is. But you don't need to know that to play Onitama.
Yeah.
But okay, let's see what Rich has got first at number 10.
Okay, guys, it is good to have you back, and this list is starting off strong. Those are 2 excellent choices. Chris, Morels is one of my all-time favorite board game moments. Me and Jen playing it on the grass in some random park in France, spending a lazy afternoon. Oh my gosh, that game is so good. Excellent choice. I take back anything bad that I've ever said about any of your choices. And Ruel, Onitama. I'm not interested in the head-to-headness of it, but it's so brilliant. If somebody were to come to my house and say, hey, I want to play a game of chess, I would say, no chess in my house. Let's play Onitama instead because it's even better. Yes, that would be my hot take of the day. Onitama is superior to chess. And now that I've probably gotten half of the audience to tune out, let's talk about number 10. Although before I get to my number 10, I should say, folks, this is the 3rd time on my channel that I have listed my favorite 2-player only games. And my earlier list, which there'll be links for down in the show notes, those all still stand. So basically, I'm talking about really excellent 2-player experiences that have come out since the last time I did this. So I'm doing a little bit more Cult of the New today, but that doesn't mean I don't have some amazing games to talk about, like number 10, Nanga Parbat, which is awesome. This is from designer Steve Finn. We are Sherpas, I think it's in the Himalayas, they're somewhere in the mountains of Nepal, herding different animals, and it's such a brilliant little area control game. On your turn, you're trying to collect different groups of these adorable little animal meeples, and whichever one you grab from the current mountain that we are on, that not only gives me some special power and doing set collection and stuff like that, but say I pick the 3rd animal on the mountain we're on, that means our communal little meeple is going to move to the 3rd mountain. Or if I take the first one, it's going to move to the 1st mountain. And therefore, every time I take something that I want, I am also deciding what you, my 2-player opponent, has access to. And I might desperately want that goat. But if I take that goat, it's going to put us both on mountain 2. And I know you desperately want to go to mountain 2 because of that cat that's idiots over there that would be perfect for you. So do I take what's perfect for me, giving, or do I go somewhere else and hopefully you'll give me what I want on a future turn? The intertwinedness between two players in this really smart area majority slash set collection game with all kinds of cool special powers is absolutely phenomenal. And the production is great too because all the animal meeples are just adorable. This is a wonderful, wonderful title. I highly recommend it. Number 10 on the list, Nanga Parbat.
Nanga Parbat. Yeah, this one has been climbing up in my ranks recently. And if you know the theme, you see what I did there, folks, with the mountain and everything. It's climbing up in my ranks. Anyways, I had to point that out. I'm really enjoying this one. And as Richard said, those animal meeples are so adorable. Yeah, Chris, any thoughts on Nanga Parbat?
No, I haven't played it, but I do like Steve Finn's games. I really like Biblios and that sort of stuff. So yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah,
those are my thoughts.
Yeah,
looks cool.
It's cool. There it is, folks. You get the best
like
commentary. The best commentary on the internet here. It's cool. Roll dice, pew pew pew. I mean, what
looks
else?
Cool. It feels like there might be a little bit of like kind of take that and screwage in terms of like those tense moments that Richard was talking about, which is surprising to me because I know that he likes not being able to like really hurt each other in games.
Right. Yeah. I don't think it's as harsh as it seems like when you're playing it, but yeah, it's got a little bit of that. But hey, we've got other 2-player games to talk about. Chris, it's back to you, my friend.
Well, speaking about Pew Pew, I'm going to talk about a 2-player head-to-head card game that's just like Duel Monsters. It's not Yu-Gi-Oh! It's actually it's going to be Radlands. That's going to be my pick for our number 9.
Nice.
And Radlands is a game that I'm super thrilled that I got to try recently. I mean, like a few months back, and finally dive into it because so many people had said such great things about it. And I see it. I see the hype. I think it's just such an elegantly designed contribution to that genre. That's how I would describe it.
Wow.
It just hits really well. It's a little lane battler. You have 3 locations that you're trying to protect. All of your locations can do different things, and you're going to be drawing cards from a communal deck of cards, which I like. In terms of these 2-player head-to-head, I like when it is a communal deck where there's that sense of randomness, there's a sense of equal opportunity and equal chance for either player, and then you're going to be using your water tokens to put people in front of your buildings to make sure that they don't get destroyed. If you destroy the other player's buildings, you win, and that's basically it. Whenever you put a card down, you cannot use it until the next turn, so then somebody else can punch it in the face before you can use it. But there's some really nice combos and synergies that you can get with chaining your location's ability into a person's ability who like lets you refresh another ability, which lets you pull someone back into your hand, and then you put that back down because they injured themselves to let you do that thing, and now they're fully refreshed. Like there are a lot of really neat and slick combos that I found by doing it, and a really nice back and forth of collecting the resources needed to do the things versus needing to come out of the gate with like smaller cards. And what also is kind of cool about it is that you can always discard a card for a thing. So if the card's never going to be useful to you, it's like, okay, I can just discard that for a water, or I can discard that to move my raiders up 1 step who are going to attack you. And so every card having that multi-use is also, I think, really nice, and it's just a really nice contribution to the genre. Again, something that my girlfriend Renee would hate, which is why I don't have it in my collection. But I'm absolutely thrilled that I've played it and look forward to the next time too.
Nice,
sure.
Yeah, Radlands. I actually gifted this to a friend of mine because I know my main gaming partner besides Michelle is my good friend Daryl, and we play games like this. Very in your face. Again, the technical term I think is roll dice, pew pew pew. But
I believe it's that.
We like games like this where it's very tactical skirmish type games, and this one I gifted to him and he loved it. He played with his wife and his friends, other friends besides me, and I still haven't played it, and I'm dying because I know how much Amy and Maggie enjoyed it. I know how much you like it now, and this is on like really high up on the list of I must play this ASAP. It just seems like it's right in my wheelhouse too. It's quick too, right? It's like 30 minutes or so. Yeah.
Yeah, 30 minutes. That's how long a round would take. It's I just think it really captures the spirit of those games. Like two-player head-to-head card games aren't necessarily my total jam,
Hmm.
but in terms of consideration, like it's one of those games where I see the design and I see like the inner workings of it, and I think like if you like that sort of stuff, you need to check this one out
Yeah.
because it is just like really, it's really slick, and there's a lot of options for variability in just like one deck of cards.
Nice. I love that. And I also love just a really simple design choice. I love the fact that when you have cards that you can't really do anything with, you can still discard them and get,
Yeah, throw them
something.
away.
That's a very simple
Yeah,
thing, but, a lot of games, well, older games, I would say, don't have that. Whereas this one,
yeah,
I love that that's in there.
yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So Radlands, I'll be playing soon, but let's move on, excuse me, to our next game here on our two-player list. Chris, I mean, we've done 12, 10, 11, 10, 9. We're at 8. We've got to throw in the good doctor. We
I
always talk
knew it was
about.
going to appear on your
Yeah,
list.
he's going to show up here. This is one of my favorite games, probably my favorite two-player game of his. I'm sure you can guess what it is, but it is our number 8. It's Lost Cities. This
Yeah,
is like
I
you just knew, right, Chris? You
I
just
knew it was on. I didn't even bother like pretending to try to put it on my list because I was like, nah, it's gonna get covered.
Yep, there it is. This is a fantastic game. I just started playing in a tournament in this in BGA, and it's like a round robin tournament. I literally have like 10 games of Lost Cities going on simultaneous right now, and I love it. It's a classic for a reason. It's it's a game you're trying to build your little expeditions here. I mean, the theme honestly, the theme has nothing to do with it. It's just building cards numbered 1 through 10, and then you have these handshake cards which if you feel like you can double up your points, you're going to put those for double, triple, or quadruple your points. But sort of like a push your luck thing, because you may not get all those cards that you need at the end, and you're going to score negative points, which happens all the time, unfortunately. But
Mhm.
depending on it's got this really cool mechanism where instead of drawing a card and then playing a card, you're doing it backwards. You're playing a card and then drawing a card, which really leads to some really tense moments throughout the game. And every game, it's always like, oh, I need to play this last turn, or I need this for previous next turn, but I can't do it just yet. And I love that about this game. It's so simple to learn and play. You play 3 rounds, and then the high score wins. So you're drawing cards, you have different colors, different expeditions you're going on. As you can see there, Richard's playing it on screen here. What do you want to do? Do you want to try to get those, numbers consecutive, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because you'll get a bonus if you can get those lined up? Or are you just going for the big numbers because those are going to score you the points? I mean, obviously you want to get them all, but you're never going to do, well, almost never going to do that where you get them all. So it's this really nice push and pull of like, when do you drop cards down? Because once you start an expedition, you're locked in. You're going to score, negative 20 just by starting it. And then you go from there trying to build up your positive points. It's a masterpiece of design. It's streamlined. It's simple. Anyone can pick it up. And, again, the theme's not really there, but it doesn't matter. It's Reiner Knizia. It's brilliant. That's why it's our number 8, Lost Cities. And yeah, we need to play this on BGA, Chris. I feel like we should be playing this right now,
Yeah, it's true. We can play it. While Richard does his videos, we can bang out a
Start a
game.
game. Nice. That's what I love
bet we
about
could
this.
do it too.
Oh, totally, because it's so quick, right?
Yeah.
It's such a quick
Yeah.
game. I mean, rounds are maybe like 10 minutes each, and then you play 3, but you can play fewer or more or whatever. But oh my gosh, yeah. And when's the last time you played this one, Chris? Have you played recently or?
That's a good question. Would have probably been on BGA.
Yeah.
Because it's just so quick to bang out a game.
Yeah.
Right. It's just so easy to and BGA's got a really nice implementation.
Yes, agreed.
I know you were playing it on your own channel for
Yeah.
training purposes, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
training
recently, yeah.
for the World Series of Board Gaming, folks. I love the game, and I've had multiple copies of it. Different. Well, actually, no, they're all the same version. I've just had a copy, and I just gift it to someone. It's like, oh, you got to
Right.
have this game. So I picked up a few times at my local Target, actually. But
Nice.
yeah, it's brilliant, folks. But hey, that's our number 8. Let's see what Richard's got in store for us at number 7.
Oh man, 2 more excellent choices. Radlands, Chris. If I had to play a dueling wizard game, it would very likely be this one because the run through that Amy and Maggie did on the channel was So fantastic. Folks, if you haven't watched it, after you're done with this, go watch Amy and Maggie. It was so much fun. And yeah, I mean, I'm not into the whole head to head thing, but if I had to do one, that post apocalyptic duel is the way to go. And oh, well, Lost Cities. You can't have a greatest 2-player games of all time list without putting Lost Cities. It is deserving of its long held status as maybe the greatest couples game of all time. I have to admit, for me, man, it does my head and it makes my brain burn, and I almost never ever win. So it's kind of a frustrating game for me, but Jen loves it to pieces. It would probably make her short list as well. But now let's move on to number 7, the newest game on the list because it only just came out, Sky Team. Well, you and I have actually filmed a run through for this now. It'll be going up this week, I think. And man, this is a rarity, a 2-player only game that is cooperative instead of a head-to-head duel. And board game industry, I would like to see more of that, quite frankly. And this is such a phenomenal dice worker placement game with imperfect communication where we're both trying as the pilot and co-pilot of a plane to land while dealing with dice that just will not support our decisions, let's say. And the tricky thing is we can strategize all we want about, hey, we really need to be banking left and we really need to keep our speed down so we can stay in a holding pattern, whatever we have to do for a given round to ensure the plane doesn't go down. But then once we roll our dice, we have to go silent because each round of this game represents like 2 seconds of time when there's not time to talk because we're making all these small micro adjustments and just responding to what each other does. And it's incredibly thematic. One of the most thematic, makes you feel like you are there cooperative games I've ever played. And it's got a great production value, tons of replayability with airports all around the world that have different challenges and whatnot, and special powers that will mix it up from game to game. This game is phenomenal. I think this is going to be making quite a few best of the year lists when we get to the end of 2023. And well, I know you love it too. It's number 7 on the list, Sky Team.
Yeah, this one came out of nowhere for me. I mean, I'd heard about it before going to Gen Con. At Gen Con, it sold out every single day. And
Wow.
yeah, when I finally got the demo and then actually played it, Chris, I mean, I'm glad that Richard put on this list because it immediately shot up in the sky. It's a playing game. See what I did there, folks? It shot up in my rankings. I love this game. And I love that Chris loved that joke.
I love. Please keep making the very similar jokes, and please keep explaining them.
I will, yes. And you keep rocking that mustache, my friend.
Very good.
Yes, I love this game, and for all the reasons Richard just talked about, it's a cooperative dice placement game. It works so well, and it's only another 20-minute game, but it's got so many great decision points, and it's got this really neat narrative because you're a pilot and a co-pilot trying to fly this plane. And, if you're not doing things right, you are going to go down. That's it. Plane crash over. And it's got this really thrilling ending because when the game's going to end. It's 7 rounds and you're trying to line up everything to get to that point. And when you land, it's thrilling. It feels like you've earned it, and I love that. And for me personally, it was the hit of Gen Con. It was my Gen Con, like the game at Gen Con. And I think, as Richard said, a lot of people were going to be talking about it for best of this year. So
amazing. Wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, I hadn't even heard of it until right now.
I don't know how it flew. I don't know how it flew under everyone's radars, Chris, but it did for some reason. There's another one for you, my friend. I think I'm going to be exhausted out of it. That's it for these jokes, folks. Let's move on to the next game, Chris. It's all you, my friend.
Okay, so our number 6 is an abstract game. It is based off of, well, the name is that of one of my favorite book series ever. This is the abstract game Tack. So it's from the book Name of the Wind. Or Wise Man's Fear, which is the second one in the series, and The Doors of Stone, which will come out eventually. Who knows when? Probably in 50 years. But it is a really great abstract game, and I'm so surprised because they talk about it in the book, and it's a different game here than it is in the book. To be honest, in the book they're talking about like, controlling this thing or whatever. I feel like the rules in the book were not the rules that ended up in the tabletop game, and I think that's a good thing because games take design time, and you realize what's fun. But it's very, very simple. You're just trying to get from one side to the other. You want to connect a line, a contiguous line of your own pieces from one side to the other. But you can jump on other people's pieces and basically take their spot if you're next to them. And then you can put in like a waystone, which cannot be jumped on, but you can jump on other people. And then you can add in another piece. You can add a blocker. And so the way it really builds itself into teaching you the game and teaching you the full game is really great. It's a double-sided board. On one side, there's the ability to have like a 4x4 grid and a 6x6 grid, just depending on how you look at it. And the other side's like 3x3 and whatever. And it's just, yeah, it's really, it's just elegant. It's an elegant abstract strategy game that you can play so quickly. I played like 7 games in a row in, I don't know, an hour 15.
Wow.
Yeah, it was super quick. Alex from Board Game Co taught it to me, and we just played a whole bunch, and it's really it's just fun. You can see in the video there's a tower of things stacking on top of each other, and if you control the top one, then you control the whole stack. But then you have to move them like Mancala style and stack them on other people, and so you can like get a whole chain, and then you're controlling that and go okay in a straight line, like boom 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 boom, and like create this cool pattern. It's difficult to describe, but like if you like abstract games, this would be my abstract game pick. That you can only play at 2 players, and I mean a lot of abstract games you can, but are 2-player only. But yeah, I just thought it was really slick, and it being an actually good game based off of like an IP is exciting to me.
Yeah, that's so cool. Like I remember hearing about this, and I heard about the book, and then they made a big thing about, hey, we actually have a game that was in the book, and it's a real thing, and that's so intriguing to me. Do you remember? No, have you read the book, Chris? I forget if you said you.
Yeah. It's probably my favorite book of all time.
Oh, wow. Okay, I need to read it then.
I love it. Fantasy. It's like once you're in like 70 pages, it's like 600 pages or something.
Oh my
Once
gosh.
I was in 70 pages, I like couldn't put it down. It was like popcorn.
Nice.
It took a little bit to ramp into it to get to the story.
Yeah.
But because the whole premise is like there's this ancient hero, Kvothe, and he now basically is a disgruntled innkeeper, and so he's telling his story of like the real things that happened correspond to like the legends.
Got it.
The legend is this, and like, but this is actually what happened. And so when he really gets into telling his story, I'm like, yeah, I couldn't put it down.
Nice.
It is like popcorn to me. That's how I describe it. It's just like, oh, one more page, one more page.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And then, as far as the game is concerned, does it play like an integral part in the plot? I mean, or is it just like a side thing?
Not at all.
Okay, that's
It's
cool that they made a game out of it, though. That's so neat.
Yeah, it comes up in. I don't even think it's in the first book. I think it's in the second book. I think it's in Wise Man's Fear when he's off at some place, and his friend is like, "I'm going to teach you strategy," and he's like, "I will learn strategy." Like that's the conceit
Very
why it
nice.
exists, right?
Cool.
But yeah.
All right, so tack it is. So that we had another abstract game. I'm gonna go to one of my favorite genres for our number 6 or for our number 5, folks. I love worker placement games, Chris, and Richard knows this as well. And for a 2-player, there's not really many 2-player worker placement games that I can think of top of my head.
Yeah.
Especially 2-player only. I mean, I've played like Stone Age 2 players and stuff like that. But this one, our number 5, is Targi or Targi. I always say Targi, but oh, I love this game. And the first time I played it, I was blown away that we could have a 2-player only worker placement game. What really separates this one from other games is it's got this grid of cards, and on the outside, sort of like ring or square, if you may, the square, you're going to move a little robber there, and they're going to block that space. And then you and your opponent are going to take turns placing your workers on that outer grid. And then it's the intersection of where those pieces are that you're going to place, you're going to take the actions. So you can either grab resources, or you can, basically it's set collection, you're trying to get resources to get these other cards, and you're going to build a tableau. And depending on what you have in your tableau, there may trigger some special abilities. Also, you're going to score points on how you arrange your tableau. Oh, it's so brilliantly done, and it plays in about 45 minutes, and I'm always surprised, Chris, when I play this game of how deep this is for what you would think. I mean, it's a small box game, but it's
Hmm.
definitely a deep, rich experience for a worker placement game, and I love that about Targi so much. They have a BGA implementation, which is fine. I think it's a little some of the user interface a little wonky to me, but the actual
Hmm.
game itself, there's also an expansion too that will fit in a small box. Just a little, actually the same box size that Cosmo uses for another game we just talked about, Lost Cities. That really small box size, and oh man, I love worker placement. I love the fact that I can knock out a worker placement game in a small space like this, and it's variable, right? Because you're always going to change up the stuff in the middle that comes out randomly, but using the spaces along the sides there, you're going to be able to, hopefully be as efficient as you can, and
Hmm.
get those victory points because you're going to go around until either you go all to the way to the end or you fill up a tableau of cards, like I think it's a 4x3 grid, and then when that'll trigger the end, and then you score all your points. But oh, I can't get enough of this game. I've been playing it for years. I remember it was probably about a year into when I was in the hobby that I was introduced to Targi, and ever since then, it took me a while to get a copy. It was out of print for a while. But I finally got a copy, and I have not let it go, as Rick Astley would say. I'm not going to let it go. And I don't know if that's the right quote, but anyways, I
Are you
love this
never gonna
game.
give it up?
Yeah, never gonna give it. Thank you. Yes,
Hmm?
I'm never gonna give up Targi, and the expansion adds a few things as well that I think are worthwhile, and that's why it's our number 5, Targi.
Great
Yes.
pick. This is one that I still need to play. Like I know it's so good. I haven't. I think it's the print runs similar to
Yeah.
your experience with Morels. It's one where like
Yeah.
I also know it's so cheap too, right? It's like $20
It
or
is.
something.
It is one. I'm glad you brought that up
Yeah,
because it is one of the best bang for your buck values out there
yeah,
ever. Seriously, like
yeah,
it's 1995 U.S. retail, and I know
yeah.
it's gone on sale for like as low as 15. And to me, that's
That's
such a steal.
mind-boggling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it really is for how deep this game is, and yeah, it's wonderful. And yeah, please check it out sometime, Chris. I know you're gonna love it. Worker placement and
yeah, for
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
fantastic. Okay, we're getting to our top 4, friends. Let's see what Rich has got for us in number 4.
Oh yeah, Chris, Tack. I have to admit, I've never played this one. I don't tend to go for the abstract stuff, but over the years, I have heard nothing but just how amazing this game is. So I'm definitely looking forward to hearing your description of it, because I don't even know how the game plays. I know it's about laying things flat or standing them up. I'm really, really curious. And Chris, I will continue to shower compliments upon you by pointing out you do an amazing job of summarizing games and capturing what makes them interesting. So I'm looking forward to hearing that. But oh man, speaking of great games, Targi, Ruel, yes, this made my original greatest two-player games of all time when I did it. I don't know, 6, 7 years ago, and it's still one of my all-time favorites. It would also make my greatest worker placement games of all time too. Such a brilliant battle of wits. Shows you don't have to have, just players trying to beat each other up to have a fantastic and very tension-filled two-player game. One of the all-time greats. But folks, I want to talk about one that you may never have heard of. It's definitely flown under the radar, and I'm not quite sure why. Number 4 on the list, Rival Networks, isn't championed from the rooftops more, because this is an excellent head-to-head two-player dueling game where players are rival heads of television networks. This is actually a kind of a streamlined, simplified version of one of the greatest all time card drafting games, The Networks. And in a lot of ways, this improves on The Networks because it does a few interesting things. One is, well, every round, one of the things we have to do is we have to grab a new show and put it in one of our 3 time slots, early, late, or late night shows. And the tricky thing is, sometimes you don't want to do that because I have 3 amazing shows in my lineup right now. But every round, whether you want to or not, you must replace one of your existing shows, must cancel one of your existing shows to make room for these new shows. And timing and planning around that can often be very, very tricky. Oh, and by the way, as you can see over here, it's a fun looking game too. This is Tom Heath. Slicker Drips did a fantastic run through for it. I'm going to put a link for that down in the show notes too, folks, along with videos for everything we're seeing and talking about today. But anyway, one of the things I love is that you're forced to take cards even when you don't want to, and you have to deal with that. But then the other half is not only do you take a new show every round, but this is an entwined drafting game too, because there are combinations of stars and ad cards put together in pairs. And in addition to taking a new show, whether you want to or not, you also have to take one of these pairs. And often, the perfect star for my favorite show that'll boost its rating up is paired with an ad card that is useless for me. But what's fascinating about these ad cards is they are your source of money. And so you could think of them as money cards, except the ads will do better or worse depending on your lineup. So this concept of money with variable values depending on what you built in the past, put into entwined drafting, one of my new favorite mechanisms of all time, with a really great sense of humor, especially if you're a TV junkie like me, makes the rival networks absolutely amazing. And like I said, nobody's talking about it. I don't know why it doesn't make more greatest 2P lists of all time, because it definitely deserves it. Number 4, rival networks.
Yeah, I don't know why this doesn't get more hype. I remember when it came out, and it seems like there was a huge fan base for the networks. And to get the 2-player version, I'm not sure. I've not played the 2-player version. I have played the original networks, and I agree with Richard. It's like it's super funny. It's just all the little puns and stuff on names. It's clever, but I'm interested in trying the 2-player game. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Chris.
No, yeah, I didn't even know there was a 2-player game. I just know of the networks as well.
Yeah,
I think it has flown really under the radar.
Yeah.
But you know what? It looks cool.
Pew pew pew. Let's move on. We're getting to the good stuff now. This is all good, folks, but now we're getting to the top 3. Chris is going to lead us off with our number 3 game of the top 12.
Well, before we do,
games.
I feel like Richard has been giving me so many compliments this episode. I don't know what to do with
what's
myself,
going on. Yeah,
because normally we're at odds, and it feels like somebody has kidnapped Richard and replaced him with a bear in disguise or something like that. Someone in a skin suit, a human suit. So we'll have to look into that.
Definitely.
I hope the tack. I also feel like he's like, oh, you do such a great job explaining games. I feel like the explanation attack was like one of the worst I've ever done. So sorry, but here we are. Anyway, for our number 3, I'm going to be basic. I'm going to be a basic boy over here. And I'm going to be basic for a reason, because it's a solid game. This is a game that I haven't played in a while, but I just like, I think it's good. And when I think about depth of strategy, it's Jaipur. It's Jaipur. I'll just say the name so we can get it up on the screen.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't going to give any other great hints. I was just going to talk about it. And Jaipur is one of those games that I hesitated about putting on this list, because I feel like it's on so many best 2-player only games. You know, whenever you search, I felt like, especially like when I was getting into the hobby too, like 10 or so years ago, I would search best 2-player only games, and Jaipur would come up, right? Like for my sister's wedding present, I wanted to get her and her husband, who's a big board gamer, like a bunch of just 2-player games. And that was like Jaipur, like everywhere I looked, it was saying Jaipur. But I just think it's fun. I've played this a lot. I played a lot of games of this, both physical and on BGA. I've played it a ton, and I really, I think that this gives you as much as you want from the game. It can be really light, it can be really airy, or it can be really cutthroat and strategic as well. And I like that it can have both of those things depending upon what mood you're in. I think the flow of the camels is really interesting. Basically, you have a hand limit of 7 cards, and you're trying to collect sets of cards. If you haven't heard of Jaipur, this is the basic explanation. You're collecting sets of cards, and then you're going to sell those sets of cards. Very similar to Morels, actually, in terms of you need at least 2 to sell, but you want to sell more, because the more you sell, the more chips you get. And if you sell 3 to 5, you also get bonus points. So you're trying to hold out to sell these large sets but you also want to sell them quickly because the first chips are worth more than the last chips. And so generally, if you sell quicker, you get more points. But if you wait and build up, you also get more points because you get that bonus in there. In addition, there are these camels, so you can take all of one. You can swap cards from your hand in with this market in the middle, or you can swap with your camel reserve as well. And so that allows you to be, there's a lovely flow of, I've got a bunch of camels so I can dominate the board. But when I do, then my opponent can pick up all the camels and then have the trading power that's there. It still holds up, I think, in my opinion. And it's not something
Absolutely.
that I like actively reach for, but if I think about a game that is only for 2 players that I'm going to gravitate towards in terms of my collection, this would be my number one. This is the one that I'll pull off the shelf if I'm like, it's a 2-player only game. I know my girlfriend will also like it, so that impacts my appeal of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a great flow back and forth, and it's basic because everybody talks about it. But you know what? They talk about it for a reason, and
Exactly.
that reason is because it's pretty good.
It's I think you're underselling it. I think it's fantastic, Chris, and I think it deserves all the hype. And yes, it is
Yeah,
basic, but as you said, for a reason. It's been around
yeah, yeah,
forever, and it's still good. I recently just played another game of it on BGA. But
yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned the flow of the camels. I think that's such
Mhm.
a cool mechanism where, yes, you have that power of trading all those camels and getting the stuff you want, but at the same time, you're going to give it up to your opponent who can do the same. It's got that nice push and pull, and it's got that little race element too, because you want to race to get those first chips for each one, especially those gold and the silver or whatever. Those are worth more.
Mhm.
I love everything about this game, and for a 2-player only game, it's definitely deserves to be up there. And if it's not
Yeah,
number one, it's definitely top five. For a reason. And yeah,
yeah,
excellent choice, man.
yeah.
Excellent choice. Let's go on to
I had to
our.
do it. Had
You,
to do it.
you had to do it. Let's
Yeah.
go on to number two because I'm going to be basic as well. I'm following your lead, Chris. This is another game that I feel like I always see it on lists, and I've talked about it on the channel a few times, and it still holds up. I think it's a modern day classic for 2-player games. It's Patchwork. You are building quilts. You and your opponent are building quilts, and through the use of polyominoes, which I love. Michelle and I love polyominoes, and the thing that sets this game apart is that the economy in this game. It's you're getting buttons to get those pieces, and if you can't afford those pieces, you're going to move on the track to get more buttons. And the pieces that you place on your quilt, if they have buttons, that's where you're going to generate income or more buttons to get. And everything about this game is just perfect in my opinion. It's tile lane, it's got that economy, it plays in about 20 to 30 minutes. It's a perfect 2-player game. Michelle and I love this game. We I don't think we regularly play it anymore, but at any time we are just trying to figure something out, oh, we don't know what to play, we know that Patchwork is there, like an old comfortable shoe or whatever. It's
Yeah.
always going to fit, and we can play it at any time. I played the digital version as well. That digital version, there's the AI is brutal. Like the
Oh yeah.
toughest one, yeah. I was like, I play like the first 3 levels, I'm fine. I'm like, I can hold my own, but then the Uwe Rosenberg level or whatever, forget it. It's just like championship, like, yeah, totally peak efficiency. I'm like, I can't even compete with that. But it's still fun. And one thing that people don't know, a lot of people don't know, you can play it solo by buying an Automa deck. They have one available through, I think it's Lookout Spiel was the company that was doing it. It goes in and out of print. Luckily, I got mine while it was still in print. It's only $5 US dollars, but it's worth it. It's just really simple Automa deck, and you can play solo, and it's a really good challenge. I don't always beat it, and I thought I was a pretty good Patchwork player, so apparently I'm not. But oh, I love this game
That's
so
cool.
much. Yeah, it's fantastic. That's why it's our number two, folks. Patchwork.
Yeah, I didn't know that there was an Automa deck. That's really neat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so cool. But yeah, I mean, just talking about it again, it reminds me. I want to play it again. It's been a while since Michelle and I played, so we're gonna definitely have to
Yeah.
pick that up soon.
That's
Okay.
how I feel about the ones on my list. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
happy I'm talking about these. I haven't played
Right.
these in a while, but like,
Yeah.
I think it speaks to the at least your own personal enjoyment of the game. That like when you talk about it, you go, oh yeah, and you remember the memories, and
Yep.
you remember like that is a fun time, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Totally.
which is
Okay. Let's move on to our final game, brought to you by Richard. This is our number one, folks.
Oh, this is a good way to end. Chris, Jaipur made my list back when I did this, whatever it was, 7 or 8 years ago, too. And I would seriously consider it now if I haven't already listed it previously. Totally deserving of its co-throne status with Lost Cities as the greatest couples game of all time. Absolutely fantastic. And Ruel, yeah, of course. Who can begrudge Patchwork? I think Patchwork is an incredibly important game in the overall evolution of the industry because I believe its success and its monster huge success is deserved and is also responsible for the renaissance of polyomino tile layer games we now find ourselves in. You know, Planet Unknown, Isle of Cats, they all, there's so many more, deserve they have a debt of gratitude to Patchwork, which is absolutely brilliant. Not my favorite Uwe patch or polyomino game. That would be Spring Meadow, but still, I would never turn down a game of Patchwork. Okay, and before we get to the number one, the best of the best, and oh my gosh, this is good. Folks, in case you didn't know, we're just getting started. There is an extended version of this show. There's a link for it down in the show notes where I'm sure Ruel's going to be doing a Gen Con report and a live interaction with the studio audience and all of that. Plus, in the post show, I'm going to tell you about 6 additional games that did not make this list. I'm telling you my 4 top, and I'm going to tell you about 6 more if I were doing a full top 10. And I'm sure Chris and Ruel are going to have some honorable mentions. So, again, you can follow that link down in the show notes. There's an you can hit the eye up in the top right corner screen, and you can just pick up right where we are right now, and then watch the number one, and then keep watching right into the post show, and you'll get to hear about a much more amazing 2-player games. But without any further ado, let's move on to number 1 on the list, Beer and Bread. And folks, I started with a hot take today, and I'm going to end with a hot take. This is designer Scott Alm's greatest game ever. I think this is amazing. Yes, Mr. Tiny Epic Galaxies and so many more wonderful games. Warp's Edge, forget about it. It's all about that beer and bread. Although, caveat, I have not played Silicon Valley yet. I so desperately want to try that game. Maybe that will eclipse Beer and Bread, but for now, Beer and Bread is the epitome of the Scott Alm's, ouvre. I said that wrong, and I should stop trying to use French words. I will just tell you what this game's about now. There are 2 villages on either side of a river. We are both competing to be the best at baking bread and brewing beer. And, well, I know you love the Konnichiwa-style twists like this one, where, hey, I'm going to be rated on both of those metrics, and whichever one is worse determines my final score. So you really have to diversify in this game. But it is a card drafting game. Hey, I got a hand, take one, give the rest to my opponent, my only opponent in this game, and then hope some of them might come back. I might be able to get my hand on them, and it's done very, very well here. And it's all about harvesting the different types of resources in the fat times, and then using them in the lean times to convert them into points. Because the game is broken down into a series of growing years and then winter, or growing seasons and then winter seasons, where the gameplay changes radically. The way you use cards, the way you get cards into your hand, switching between summer and winter, it's really, really smart. But all that is secondary. The thing that makes this game so brilliant that I love more than anything else is, hey, we're spending a lot of time harvesting resources, and we have limited storage to hold them in. You can always expand your storage if you want, but you have to be careful, because if you cannot store all the stuff you harvest in any other game in board game history, all the excess, the overage, would just go back to the supply, would just be wasted. Not in this game. All of the stuff that I overproduce goes to you, my opponent. And that adds this extra wonderful level of tension. Is like, now I have to be even more careful about being super hyper efficient and use up this stuff before I harvest new stuff, because I don't want to just give you stuff. Although I have to admit, it's just because this is a competitive game, I don't want to do that. But at the same time, I love the story this game tells. This is, even though these 2 villages are competing, a rising tide floats all boats, and things don't have to be zero-sum, and these villages definitely agree and believe in waste not, want not, as do I. So the recycling message in this game is wonderful as well. Another thing that elevates it. Beer and Bread is fantastic. Scott Alms, I doff my cap to you. Your best work yet, but I'm sure you're not done. Looking forward to what you've got in the future, including Silicon Valley. I want to try that one. But anyway, folks, that was it, the number 1. Beer and Bread.
Wow, I'm really surprised that this one made the list because it's so recent, but you know what? I'm all for it because I love this game so much. I got to play it recently with my buddy Daryl. So smart, and it's just brilliant. Richard expounded on it, and I agree 100%. I don't know if, man, I need to play it a few more times before I can call it Scott Alms's greatest design, because I'm a huge fan of Tiny Epic Galaxies, right?
But
But
I feel like this has been on your list in a few past episodes, right?
it has, yeah,
Has it?
like I think
Yeah,
small box games or whatever. And I know I've talked
yeah,
about Beer and
yeah.
Bread. I've really enjoyed it, and
I've been keeping my eyes out because of how much you've talked about it. And now that I know Richard likes it too,
yeah,
well,
we're
game
gonna have to,
over.
yeah, totally. It's interesting. So he mentioned the Knizia style of scoring, like you have two
Mhm.
scores, but the worst is going to be your final score. It actually reminds me a bit of a Rosenberg game as well, with all the resource management and stuff. So it has some classic design to it, but done in a modern way, I guess is the best way to say it. But yeah, Scott Alms, hats off, because it's a terrific game. Yeah, Beer and Bread. Yeah, it's a good number one, Chris. I think it's a
It's a
good
good
number one.
number one. It's a good
Yeah,
number one. I mean, I've never played it, and I still think it's a good number one, just
yeah,
because I know.
exactly. Okay, so folks, that's gonna be it for our top 12 two-player games. Thank you so much for joining us, Chris. Any final thoughts before we get on out of here?
Now we'll see you in the extended edition if you want to see our extra special picks.
Yes.
Ooh,
Ooh,
tantalizing.
very well done. Yes, folks. Every week we do this live on Twitch, so the extended editions, you're gonna have to click on the links below to check that out. But on behalf of Chris and Richard via video, I'm Ruel. Thank you so much for watching the R&R&R show, sponsored by Arcane Wonders, and we'll see you later. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
And Richard will be adding an outro to that, hopefully. But
Great.
here we are in the extended
Here we
edition.
are. We're back. Hey,
Yeah.
chat. Nice to
Yes.
see ya.
Hi, everybody.
Missed you all. Missed
Yeah.
talking to you all.
Yeah. So we're gonna do the post show, folks. If you have comments, questions, let us know in the chat. We've got about 20 minutes or so. We will
Yeah.
go over our games that didn't make our list. You want to start that off, Chris?
Yeah, I did want to give a shout out in terms of we didn't talk about it in the comments as we were talking, but
Oh,
people were talking about Great Western Trail in New Zealand, and I want to try this. I'm
Same.
like desperate to try the next
Same.
few like Great Western Trails. Not two player only, but good at two players. Great
Yeah.
Western Trail is good at two players.
So what was the one
Yeah.
before New Zealand? I just got the. Is it
Argentina.
Argentina? Yeah, I have
Yeah.
not played that one. I haven't even. Yeah, I need to play that one.
You still haven't played it, eh?
No.
Because we wanted to play it at Dice Tower West,
That's
and then
right.
we never got a chance.
Yeah.
I know we were like, we're playing Argentina. Yeah, I haven't played it either.
Yeah. So yeah, and then New Zealand just came out here at Gen Con, I believe. So, yeah.
You know, we want the hotness now.
Yes.
I don't care about
Argentina's
Argentina.
old. Let's go New Zealand.
You know, the luster's washed off. I bet New Zealand's more different. I
Right.
bet New Zealand's the best. I don't care about Argentina.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Cannot wait to try that one. Anything else in chat we should go over before we get to our list here, Chris?
No, I don't think so. People were just talking about games in games. So Gwent, which was in The Witcher, like a card game, right?
Okay.
Which is kind of like the similar to TAC, and I thought that was cool too.
Okay.
I'm always peeping on you, chat.
Yeah.
It's just what I like to do. I like to sneak up and peep at you. Don't even know.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't have too many honorable mentions. I mean, I knew you were gonna put Lost Cities in, so I was like, okay, it's kind of my list, but it's not.
Yeah.
I had Star Realms mainly because I've just enjoyed Hero Realms a ton, but Hero Realms is technically 2 to 4 players, and Star Realms is just 2 players, even though they're exactly the same game and just rethemed.
Okay.
So, but I would never play Hero. I don't know. Hero Realms to me feels like a 2-player game anyway.
Yep.
So I put Star Realms on there as my cheat to talk about Hero Realms because Hero Realms was on my first list when I thought it was just 2-player games and not 2-player only games. I kind of want to say my first list, but I also feel like that could be a different topic of discussion. So maybe I should leave it.
Oh yeah, save it for future lists.
Cool. I'll save it for a future list. But yeah,
Okay.
so 2-player only.
Yep.
Another 2-player only game that I need to try, and I think I have a Steam version of it. I just need to play it. Twilight Struggle. I feel like I should play that, and when I do, it would be on the list.
Yeah,
sure. We got a lot of these smaller games on our list, and I just feel like this chunky Twilight Struggle.
Yep. And
that's what I
know, just just knowing the type of games that you like, I think you will love Twilight Struggle.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed my games of it. It's a commitment. I mean, it takes a while, and it's one of those games someone who's played before has a distinct advantage over someone that doesn't, just because the way the card play is and stuff. But
For sure. Yeah.
it's good. Yeah,
You know
actually,
what game?
one of my
Oh yeah. The other one.
yeah,
Sorry to cut you off. The
no
other one
worries.
that I haven't played, but I want to. That's 2-player only. Is Watergate as well. I've heard great things about Watergate, but I haven't played it, so I couldn't put it on the list.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I was literally going to mention Watergate right now because it made my short list. It's one of
Amazing.
those. Yeah, it was one of those ones that floats in and out of my top 5. And
Yeah.
Watergate, Chris, to me, it's the very streamlined, condensed version of Twilight Struggle. And that's why I love it. It's instead of like area control though, it's got like a tug of war. But
Yeah.
it does have that very really interesting. You have multi-use cards, event cards, and it's based on history, just like Twilight Struggle. So it really is like a mini Twilight Struggle in about 30 minutes or 40 minutes. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
That was on my list. Also, Splendor Duel. Michelle and I love Splendor, the original Splendor, and I always felt like it was a better 2-player game. But then Duel came on, and it added a few more layers of strategy to it. And yeah, love that one. That made my short list as well. The other two, let me see. So, okay. The other one I want to talk about, and this one, it's another one that's it depends. I think because I haven't played it so long, it's dropped down. But I know the second I play it again, it's going to go shoot right back up. It's a game called Acrotiri. That is a brilliant,
Oh yeah.
brilliant 2-player game that has gone in and out of print. I think it is back in print now from Z-Man Games, but is a brilliant design. It's a tile layer, but with you're doing some economy stuff as well. So the market shares or prices can go up and down depending on how you work the market. You're gonna get those resources to uncover new islands and stuff. It's a pick up and deliver game as well. So I know Richard's not really into that, but I think it's such a really well done design. Plays in about 45 minutes. It's similar to what we're talking about with Targi, where you get this small box, but boy, when you open it up and play it, it's really rich and really deep and just a fantastic experience. So highly recommend that if you've never played it. That's Acrotiri. Nice. Let's see what Richard's got. We've got a video here where he's going to share the games that didn't make his list. So here we go, folks. Richard, what are your honorable mentions?
All right, I'm sure we've run along, so I'm just going to try and go through these extra 6 ASAP as fast as possible in no particular order, certainly not countdown order, but anyway, let's get right to it. Let's talk about Arnak, the Lost Ruins of Arnak, the Missing Expedition. This is odd because I'm actually listing an expansion. And the thing is, this expansion does a lot of stuff, but one of the things is it can turn Lost Ruins of Arnak into a 2-player only cooperative game. I mentioned earlier in the main list, I want to see more cooperative 2-player experiences, and Missing Expedition for Lost Ruins of Arnak provides it, and it does a great job. And you know what? Not only that one, but Concordia Solitaria, another expansion for another amazing all-time great game, does the same thing. It's ideally, both of these create bigger, more elaborate solo games, but then they did the work to make those solo games playable as cooperative 2-player games. And you have not played Concordia until you've played Concordia as a 2-player cooperative game where you're working with in my case, when I'm working with Jen, and I love it, and it makes Concordia better than ever. I didn't put those on the list because, hey, it's expansions. I really wanted to put actual full games on the list, but they are both amazing. Another one, Squire for Hire, a wonderful little card game, all about layering grid cards on top of each other. Played a lot of games like this over the years, and this is one of the best, where we're just trying to arrange all of the loot from our fantasy adventures in our backpack, moving things around, covering stuff up. Sharp, fun, puzzly little game. Lovely 2-player. I just absolutely adore it. And then my final 3, these final 3 would have made the official list, except all 3 of them are almost impossible to get. So I left them off, and I'm doing them as honorable mentions. Let's Make a Bus Route, the dice game, is phenomenal. You can play it solo, but really, it's a wonderful 2-player roll and write where we are working competitively on the same map, trying to lay out our bus route. And unlike the original Let's Make a Bus Route or the reimagining Get On Board, this one is driven by dice, and it's the best of all of this series of games. And only available in Asia, so kind of hard to get your hands on. Pocket Master Builder from Wei Min Ling, who has to be one of my favorite new designers of recent years, is a brilliant city building game where the interesting thing is we've got this hand of cards that represents all these different buildings that we can add to this medieval city that we're working together on. We're working on the same city, building it up. But the thing is, when I play a card out to the grid that represents the city, I'm doing that to basically lay the groundwork for a building that may or may not ultimately get built by me or by you. I'm doing it in the short term, though, because it's a way for me to harvest resources through this very, very cool little worker placement, because we're building a worker placement board as we go by laying out cards, but those cards ultimately upgrade to become actual buildings that score points later on. And me laying a card could be exactly what you want to actually build a building that you didn't think you were going to be able to. Super duper smart, and again, all but impossible to get your hands on. Very, very small print run, unfortunately. And then there's Oranienburger Canal, which would have made my number one overall, from Uwe Rosenberg. A very, very cool, again, solo or two-player only worker placement game where we are dredging up canals, building roads, laying down rail track on this very, very tight grid to help build our burgeoning industry. From people who have played it, and not many people have, this is pretty widely regarded as one of Uwe Rosenberg's greatest designs of all time, if not his greatest design of all time. And honestly, it's kind of hard to argue with that. It's brilliant. It is it's like the zenith of everything he's learned as a developer. He's put into this game, and I did not put it on the official list because it was only available from crowdfunding, and as far as I know, it's not available at all now. If you did not back it when it was crowdfunding, you can't get this game now except on the secondary market. Fingers crossed, some other publisher will work with Spielworks and say, hey, this game deserves to be played by more people. Capstone, I'm talking to you. You brought us beer and bread. Bring us Oranienburger Canal while you're at it. Fantastic stuff. Okay, guys.
I have not heard of many of those games. But
I remember Oranienburger Canal.
Okay.
From crowdfunding for sure.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of the I have heard of Let's Make a Bus Route, but not the dice game specifically. And I hadn't heard of the postmark thing. However, Goblin does make a really great point in the comments saying what happened to 2-player only. Now it's 1 or 2-player. Every single one of those was 1 to 2-player games. So unfortunately, they have to be disqualified from the honorable mentions list.
Oh, well.
I'm sorry. I don't make the rules.
Yeah.
I don't make the rules. I just try to enforce them. And
there it is.
All of our honorable mentions, I think, were 2-player, specifically just 2-player.
Yep.
They were. And then we're getting some 1 to 2 players in there. Oof, busted. Goblin, you are correct.
Thank you, Goblin. Keeping us honest, Goblin. Thank you so much.
Goblin's keeping us honest. Somebody's got to do it. And I appreciate that Goblin has spoken the voice of the people. The people are upset. The people are mutinying.
Yes,
that's what's happening. But we still like it, Richard, even if you're a dirty cheat and a liar. And that's it's showing itself right now.
You're okay in our book, Richard. The one game I'm curious. Like I'd heard about the bus route game, but the one that I don't know what it is. You get me a game that has alliteration or rhyming, so. And I'm all in. Squire for Hire. I have no idea what I just want that based on the title alone. Come on. Squire for Hire.
I've never heard of that one either. Squire for Hire.
Yeah. So those are Richard's. It's interesting. He did mention that, a lot of these that we had talked about might have been on his list as well. So
in the past. And I'm sure that'll be down in the comments or show notes or whatever of the previous iterations of this, which for sure would be worthwhile going to check out, because then it's more of a list of the same qualifications, right?
Yeah. So it was really neat to see the evolution of Richard's list, and he had mentioned Sky Team on his, and that one really I keep thinking about it because we just did our run through. We filmed it last night actually, and the more I thought about it, then after we played, I played again just the base game, and I was like, oh, this is such a great design. Like, I can't wait for you to try it, Chris. I think you're gonna love this one. And now, do you and your partner do you do cooperative games? I forget.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a good one. This is not a good. This is a great one, and I can't wait for.
No, it definitely feels like something that I would want to pick up. She likes co-op too, because then she's got a better chance at winning.
There it is. Okay. Why don't we thank you, Selnet, for subscribing. Appreciate it. Folks, this is your last chance for today. Well, actually, no, you don't. It's not your last chance. You can subscribe anytime you want, even if we're not live. You can still subscribe. And if you haven't,
that's true.
yeah, if you have an Amazon Prime account, you subscribe for free as well. You can unlock all kinds of goodies, including discounts on Rahdo merch. And if you don't know, folks, Rahdo has kindly hosted some of my merch. This isn't it. I have to get this shirt, but we have a new Tabletop Tonight shirt that has our pugs on it, Meeple and Mookie. So
Cute.
yeah, check it out. It's super adorable. Speaking of shirts, I got to shout out our friend Alex Hart. He was with us last time. This is his shirt. He created the shirt, different colors. So I play yellow. Your favorite color, you can get it as well. I'll ask Richard to drop the note in the link in the show notes. So I play yellow, and thanks Alex for the shirt. I owe you a shirt, Alex. We made a wager at Gen Con, and unfortunately I lost. So the lesson is, folks, do not gamble. It's going to cost you.
Don't gamble.
It cost me a shirt.
That's
so,
true.
Alex, your shirt's on the way. Let's wrap things up here. Chris, any final thoughts before we log off until next time?
Yeah, no, this was fun. It's nice getting to hang out. Unless there are anybody else in the chat wants to drop anything that we missed too. Like I know somebody mentioned Hive as well, and Caper Europe as well, as some options as well. Jen says that her kid really enjoyed playing Onitama with you as well. Remember you were talking about that story?
I was,
That's
yeah.
cool.
It was a real treat. It really was. And Salnet says gambling is fine, losing is the problem. Yes, that's exactly. Why don't we
also shouting out Spy Alley?
It's all Spy Alley, yeah.
Yeah, more. You can play more than 2 players. You can play that at 6 players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the other? Oh, Hive. Yeah, I think Hive is an excellent one. I'm surprised that none. Well, we each had an abstract. You had TAC. I had the Onitama. So yeah, 2 abstracts. I think is a good call there.
Yeah.
But awesome.
I think for me, TAC takes out Hive. I think I like TAC.
I need to play attack. I really need to play that. Roshko also says Fox in the Forest Duet is a neat take on trick taking. I agree. I like Fox in the Forest and Duet as well. I think those are really wonderful trick taking, 2-player trick taking games. I actually like Claim better, but Claim is a little more in your face if you ever played those. Okay. Cool. Why don't we get out of here? You know what we're going to do? We're going to raid someone, folks. We're going to take you all. Someone. Yeah, let's go raid our friends Losapalooza. They are playing board games with M. Peebles. So we're going to start the raid right now. You got 10 seconds, folks. Chris, words of wisdom in 10 seconds. Feel free to share before we raid.
Make sure you play a fun game with the people that you love, because that's what it's all about. Thanks for being here. Enjoy the raid. Enjoy the rest of your day. Always lovely hanging out with you all.
Awesome. Bye, everybody. And let's see if it raided. I believe. Let's see. Raid.
Yeah, looks like it did.
It did. Okay, so we're going to stop streaming